Now we go to someone personally affected by this major court ruling. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, professor of Stanford University School of Medicine. Dr. Bhattacharya, you were one of the esteemed epidemiologists who co-authored what was called the Great Barrington Declaration back in October of 2020. It questioned COVID lockdowns based on science and the nature of diseases. 3 days after its release, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other government officials urged its suppression. Soon it was scrubbed from social media, and the accounts were shut down. Dr. Bhattacharya joins me now, along with Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry. Both are parties to this lawsuit against the government. Dr. J, I want to start with you. You were censored yourself. Your reaction tonight to this ruling, and how did you and your colleagues suffer as a result of this government censorship? Did you?
I am absolutely delighted by this, Raymond. It basically restores my faith in America. The Biden administration and the federal bureaucracy used its overwhelming power to essentially to say, here's what you can say and you can't say, working with social media. And you asked me like what it did to me. You know, the power of the censorship is they don't actually they can't like fully stop me from talking. What they can do is they can put a misleading label on me or limit the extent of which people see my tweets or whatever. The upshot is to undermine true things that I'm saying in the minds of the public. So, for instance, when I had a roundtable with Governor DeSantis in 2021, YouTube censored it. So that people couldn't see it. What was the purpose of that? So that the people couldn't see what advice a sitting governor was getting? That's just bad.
Well,
I mean, there's no good justification for that, right?
And this isn't advice from, a television anchor. This is advice for an esteemed epidemiologist at Stanford University. Dr. Bhattacharya, I want to play Anthony Fauci's reaction to the Great Barrington Declaration and the justification for spiking the warnings that you all were offering. Watch.
The Great Barrington Declaration. In there is the implication. Let everybody get infected that's going to be able to be getting infected, and then we'll have herd immunity. Quite frankly, that is nonsense. And anybody who knows anything about epidemiology will tell you that that is nonsense and very dangerous.
Dr. Bhattacharya, your reaction when you hear that, and how did Anthony Fauci and the Biden administration fall into their own social media trap here?
I mean, you could see they censored other people, and as a result, they censored their own minds. The thing you see there is a falsehood. Right. First of all, the Great Barrington Declaration called for protection of vulnerable people, especially older people. It wasn't calling for letting the virus rip. And second, what technology did Tony Fauci expect to use to actually control the spread of a highly infectious respiratory virus? He was calling for school closures. He was calling for many of the devastating policies that we actually followed that have led to huge numbers of kids with learning loss, depression at catastrophic levels, opioid abuse at catastrophic levels, economic damage. He basically was ignoring every single thing that could harm American health except for his view of the lockdowns, which he thought was the only way to protect American health.
We were grossly
misled. Imagine if
misled.
he hadn't been censored.
We were grossly misled.
And
Attorney General Landry, this evening the Biden Justice Department announced its appeal of this injunction. What are their chances of success at the Fifth Circuit, and why were they so quick to react, do you think?
Look, I hope that their chances at the Fifth Circuit are no. We're going to defend this ruling. I think it's a very good, thought-out ruling. I mean, Judge Doty spelled it out in 154 pages. I think that he left plenty of exceptions for the government to be heard and to say things on social media. I mean, look, I've heard what all of the liberal press is saying. This order in no way prevents the government. No one's trying to muzzle the government. We're just trying to keep the government from muzzling its citizens.
Attorney General Landry, I want to show you some of the media you referenced there. They're upset about this ruling, and they're urging more government censorship. Watch.
This is one of the most aggressive, far-reaching rulings you'll ever see. What this judge is purporting to do is to micromanage, really, the day-to-day interactions between essentially the entire executive branch and the leading social media companies. The full faith that the American public has in elections could be undermined. Couldn't that potentially be a national security threat?
Of course. And really one of the core issues here is to what degree can there be consequences for the company not doing what the White House wants?
Attorney General, is information not edited by the White House a national security threat?
Absolutely not. That's called a violation of the First Amendment. Again, let's make it clear. Nowhere in the order does it say that the government isn't able to make its case or to put warnings out or to discuss things and inform the American people. What this order says is you can't go muzzle Americans. You can't muzzle or throttle back people like Dr. Bertaccini, who you just said. I mean, he's an esteemed epidemiologist. He had something to say and something to say to the American people so that they could understand what was going on during the COVID-19 pandemic. And yet, because he didn't fit their narrative, he was throttled back. That's a violation of the First Amendment. Again, no one is saying the government can't talk to social media companies. We're just saying you can't censor Americans' speech.
Dr. Bhattacharya, I want to give you the last word. When you hear the media urging more censorship and for the Biden administration to double down on this, as a public health advocate and someone who sounded the alarm, what would you say to that?
I'd say to them that they are hurting public health. They are hurting Americans. The best way to promote public health is to allow free speech. Censorship kills because it basically locks in bad ideas, just as we've seen during the pandemic.
Dr. Bhattacharya, Attorney General Landry, thank you both for being here.